All right, good afternoon, friends, and welcome to Bourbon Blog Live. And I have some great guests joining us to get us in a brunch theme today because, I thought with the Derby coming next week and just, we all need a good brunch drink, don't we? It's our friends from Bruce Julian Heritage Foods. We have Paul and Bonnie, and Bruce Julian is joining us here in a few minutes. And also, it's Umberto Luchini from Wolf Spirits. He is in, his Wolf Spirits is based in Eugene, Oregon, right?
Correct.
And you all at Bruce Julian Foods are based in North Carolina.
And in Charlotte, yeah.
In Charlotte, excellent, excellent. So I went ahead and made a couple Bloody Marys here with some Derby glasses that are vintage Derby glasses from 1984, from 1976. We've been talking Derby a lot the last few weeks because there is going to be an online Derby celebration this coming Saturday to help us celebrate it at home. But let's get started with why don't we talk a little bit about I met you all at the International Restaurant Show of New York. Tell us about the Bloody Mary mix, and then we'll have Umberto talk about some of these great vodkas we're going to put with it.
Okay, well, first, cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, everybody. Everybody has a drink in their hand, I think, don't they?
So our Bloody Mary mix, the Bruce Julian Bloody Mary mix, is a blend of 4 different juices. It's an all-natural, really bright, distinctively different from most Bloody Marys.
Yes.
The brand Bruce Julian is because Bruce Julian, who is a second-generation men's clothier, created this wonderful recipe years ago after his passion for music and pleasure, and many searches on the morning after for the perfect Bloody Mary, decided the best way to do it is make it your own. So he started serving this to his customers. People literally fell in love with it, and it started out with, hey, buddy, can you make me a gallon for the beach? We're tailgating, and then about 10 years ago, Bruce and I started home canning in our house just for him to serve here at the clothing store. Paul and I worked together in Manhattan. Bruce's store is in Charlotte. I would commute to Charlotte and literally would come back to the city, and it would be, how was your weekend? And all I do is make Bloody Marys. This is crazy. So 6 years ago, Paul and I left the textile company we were working for and decided to commercialize Bruce's brand and start Bruce Julian Heritage Foods, with our Bloody Mary being the anchor of the whole product line that we offer. So we have the Bloody Mary mix. We do a beautiful Southern Mojo seasoning to rim your glass, full line of pickled vegetables. So we want the full experience, which is kind of what you get when you come to the store here with Bruce. You get a lifestyle experience, having a wonderful drink, enjoying, good product, good clothes, and good friends. That's how we're here.
It's a beautiful backdrop behind you. I have some of the Bloody Mary mix right here. Again, who's pictured here?
Well, that wonderful gentleman is Bruce's dad, Milton Julian. That was photographed in 1938 when he moved to North Carolina from Massachusetts, and he and his brother Maurice opened the first Julian's men's clothing store to put themselves through school. And so therefore, first generation versus second generation, and we couldn't find a more dapper guy and a perfect Southern gentleman to be the brand for our product line and the brand of Bruce's store.
Tom looks just like him. Just holding
Hey, maybe we can get me on next time, right? For a special BourbonBlog edition. I'll smile. Actually, it's kind of funny. If I parted my hair down the middle, it would kind of have that look to it. Well, and again, great Bloody Mary mix and great people. I met these folks at the International Restaurant Show of New York just before everybody went home during COVID. I was so glad to see you all there, and it was nice. Every morning I would start out with a little bit of Bloody Mary from you all before I went to my booth to pour some whiskeys, and lots of great people there at the International Restaurant Show of New York, and we had a great time with it. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Bloody Mary and about other foods that you all do. But I want to tell you what kind of vodka that I put in this, because so we mix it up. Sometimes we'll do and I've done this a little bit in Kentucky. We put a little bourbon in the Bloody Mary. Sometimes we put vodka. But when it comes to picking a really exceptional, unique vodka that's doing some great work for just for their region and for the world, Umberto Luchini, you created Wolf Spirits about how many years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, and tell us about your operation there in Oregon and about the vodka. And I have the Blood, Sweat, and Tears in this one, and I'll taste a little bit of the Blood, Sweat, and Tears as you talk about it.
Sure. So 3 years ago, I've been always in a corporate environment. I was born and raised in Italy, moved to the U.S. 15 years ago, became, as you can see there, became a U.S. citizen. And so adopted the whole mentality and the whole culture of the American dream. And 3 years ago, the bug that you get of trying to forge your own path. And so I left corporate world and I decided, with a friend of mine who has nothing to do with spirits, we decided to open up a distillery in Eugene, Oregon, and give it a shot. And so when I tell you 3 years ago, and it's a year we've been in the market, it really shows you how long it takes. Even after 15 years of experience, I never would have imagined it would have been such a complicated, long, and very challenging process to get up and running a distillery. And I'm producing vodka, which is probably the easiest of the spirits to produce. So it is definitely it was definitely a very challenging but life-changing experience. So we created a brand, and we decided to go in Eugene, Oregon for a few reasons, but I would say the key one was finding a place that kind of represented the spirit that we all in the company have of being a bit the makers out there, the people who roll up the sleeves and get things done. And that has always been a bit our philosophy, my philosophy. I grew up in a family that earned its way in life, and so we gave it a shot, and we decided Eugene, of all the craft places in America, Oregon is probably up there, and within Oregon, Eugene is honestly the craftiest place you can do anything. We were the first distillery making vodka when we opened up. Now there's at least 4 of them, and then obviously a lot of breweries, and then the whole valley is very famous for its wine. So rather than going in Portland, where it's a bit obviously it's the known place, we opted also for a different area, and we created this brand, and I called it Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and I'll show you here if I can. There you go, the bottle. The name honestly came out of a conversation. This is the classic situation: you're in a bar and brainstorming, and as we were going through the process, we thought, this has been really tedious. I mean, this has been blood, sweat, and tears all over the place. And just a little Googling, and I thought, hey, this is free, let's get it. And as you may know, nowadays, the biggest issue in creating new brands is actually finding a name that you can own. So we decided the name way before we had a clue what the bottle would have looked like. So, and then we, another friend of ours, Ben, who had a whole different background in his past. He worked in tattoo shops and in Bakersfield in a farm. So very different background, and was having a bit of a, those moments in life where you don't know what you're doing. So hitting the wall a bit. And we told him, listen, we're doing this. You go on the internet, you figure out a way of making vodka. It can't be too complicated. Just learn your way. We'll pay for everything. Learn your way, but you live in San Diego, great life, but you'll have to move to Eugene. And he took the bags, and not just the bags, but he actually adopted a dog, Mr. Pickles, who is now running the business there. But it's basically a rescue pit bull that basically allowed him to find some stability in his life together with the job. So it was actually, looking back, it was a phenomenal combination of finding entrepreneurs who had the will to change things, and then people who were facing the wall and needed to do something to change their life as well. So there was definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in making it. But Ben, after 3 years of attempts and trying, we won a gold medal a few months ago from the San Francisco Spirits competition. Which,
congratulations! Well
thank you.
Yes.
To Ben, I I won't take the credit, but that which is honestly, and you know how hard it is in vodka, where the character, because you can't really speak about flavor, where the character is so hard to
Right.
to make it distinctive enough. The way we try very simply, because we are not here to talk about the technical elements of producing it, but to make it very easy to understand, we limit the number of distillations to retain a bit of character.
Wow.
And give it a personality. And obviously that is counter trend until a few years ago. It was all about distilling as much as possible so that you could make it as pure as possible. Nowadays, consumers are looking for flavor. They're not looking for purity. I mean, in that sense. So that actually helps. So we distill only 3 times, and then we freeze filter. And the freeze filter process is very easy. It basically means that you basically take away, I always compare it to chicken soup. Actually, Ben does. Compares it to chicken soup. After you cook some chicken soup, if you put it straight in the freezer, what will happen is that the solids and the liquids will separate, the fats from the solids, and that separation in vodka allows you to take away further impurities while avoiding another distillation, which takes away character. Now, don't do that with chicken soup. It's gotta be terrible. But with vodka, it actually produces a very good, a very characterful vodka. So there's a bit of spiciness to it, but I'll let you're the taster. You can definitely feel it. But it's not your like smoothest vodka. It has character, but there's no burn. So you're entering into a world where you smell and you say, okay, this is going to be a bit challenging, and then you're surprised by the lack of burn.
Yeah, and there's like a nice black pepper note to it that just really comes forward in a real beautiful kind of spicy way. And again, this process that you use with your vodka, this is not something that I've seen much. This is not something that's done much in vodka, is it? Right.
In the U.S., I know it's a bit more popular in Scandinavia. In the U.S., there's only one other brand who does it, and that is mainly, honestly, like many things, as we realize, is mainly driven by cost. You're adding another step, in the production process, and you need another equipment machine, and so many brands don't think it's worth the cost.
Right.
We looked at cost afterwards, and then we said, wow, we have to pay for this. But the reality is we were happy with the results. So we don't want the cost to inhibit our opportunity to stand out. The challenge with vodka is always, everybody will tell you it's all marketing. Marketing is very important. Packaging is definitely very important. But we try to make a difference. Everything we do, it's a small operation. So there's no politics of approvals and things like that. We just try and make a difference.
Well, it's really beautiful stuff, and we'll come back to you in just a moment and talk about your Tom of Finland vodka. Well, actually, just real quick before I forget, there is something really special with the blood, sweat, and tears you all do to support a local charity, right? Let's before we forget, because it's such a special thing you do.
Yeah, so actually today I think it's National Adult Shelter Day, which
today is
so it falls well, and I have to say one of the positive things of the crisis we're going through, as we try to find out positive, is that the number of dogs and pets being adopted is at an all-time high, which is great, and obviously people are spending more time at home with their pets and giving them the love that they probably forget during the week when they're busy working. So because we have Mr. Pickles, who runs our business pretty much, and the whole story between Ben and Mr. Pickles, we decided to support an organization called Best Friends Society, which is basically helps shelter dogs, finding a home for shelter dogs across the country. Wow. And we partner with them. There's soon you will be available to make donations through our website, and also buy T-shirts dedicated to Mr. Pickles, of which all the money will go to the charity to support Best Friends Society. And since I have the bottle here with me, I have we purposely put Mr. Pickles, if we can find him there. There you go.
Okay.
Right there, next to the still. give him a bit of advertising. He's not asking for image rights, so we're good with that. So yeah, so I think we should all celebrate the fact that Americans are getting closer to their pets, because to think that dogs are dying just because they don't have a home and are being killed is really hard.
That's great what you're doing for the pets, and amazing that today again is a national. Tell me again, the national day is what?
National Adopt Shelter Day.
National Adopt Shelter Day. That's really important. So definitely, I've been spending more time with my pets, and from what I'm hearing, more and more people are adopting pets. They're at home. They're finding companionship, especially those people that might be alone. So that is wonderful what you're doing. Now back to the Bloody Mary. I'm telling you, so this vodka really adds some nice spice, some nice complexity to the Bloody Mary. It really makes it that much more special. So I did use the rim, this Bloody Mary rimmer. Tell me about what's in this Bloody Mary rimmer, just so that I have an idea, because it's really a good rimmer.
We started out with our Bloody Mary mix, as Bonnie said, and the rimmer seasoning. And the rimmer seasoning is really versatile. It's 12 different spices. There are 4 herbs. The herbs really add a lot of nice notes and make it incredibly useful, not just as a rimmer, but also for cooking. So we introduced the very same seasoning as Southern Mojo, sold in a shaker jar. We cook with it. Our customers cook with it. It's absolutely delicious on everything.
You cook Southern food with it?
Correct.
Wow.
We sprinkle it on popcorn. It's the seasoning for our couch mix snack. It's really quite versatile.
I think that also, and it was very interesting, and listening to your comments and about the pepper notes in your vodka.
Yeah.
Our Bloody Mary, we purposely wanted it to be bright and fresh and clean, so that if you wanted to add a distinctive vodka, you could actually taste the vodka in our Bloody Mary. Where many Bloody Marys are thick and salty and just heat, ours is, we took a different approach. So we encourage our guests who are enjoying our Bloody Mary to look for distinctive vodkas, that impart their own character and their own flavor, because you can actually get that palate blend. So the rimmer is like a preparation. It's all about this process of enjoying the drink. You get the rimmer, you got our bright, fresh Bloody Mary. You complement with a distinctive vodka, and the experience is complete.
Well, I do love how the vodkas can come through in this.
Correct.
And it's just really beautiful. I mean, the good news is I actually have judged during Kentucky Derby. Not this year, it won't happen, but we've judged some Bloody Mary competitions in Louisville, and it's always fun to see what types of spins bartenders will put on these. So many interesting, everything from different kinds of tomatoes, different kinds of peppers. The combinations have been really interesting, but it's a very complex, clean, dynamic Bloody Mary mix. And as I look down at, I know it's a secret recipe, but looking at some of the ingredients on the side of the bottle, I think I even saw like mango puree or something like that.
Yeah. So the balance is acidity and sweetness. And so, we have lots of orange juice, lemon juice, a little mango for natural sweetness, a little agave. And then, our depth comes into fresh horseradish. Again, looking for natural ingredients to impart different flavor profiles. So as you're drinking it, you're kind of getting this progression of flavor. And it's also, I think the way our bartenders that purchase and use our drink, what they love about it, it's very drinkable. A lot of Bloody Marys, you have one and you're done. You basically have brunch before you've actually had your entree.
It's so thick and so big, right?
Exactly. And with ours, it's very compelling. So, you're having more than one Bloody Mary. We encourage everyone to do that.
have a couple, especially while we're all still quarantined. We can enjoy a few of them. I've been having some Bloody Marys the last few weeks. You all kind of got me started on a path of Bloody Marys when I saw you a month and a half ago. In a good way, and like for about a week, I'm like, I'm really craving a Bloody Mary. So it's really been fun and good. And look, hey, there's Bruce Julian himself.
There's Bruce himself.
And
Bruce.
We have all been in the same house during this, so we're social distancing is not necessary.
So there have been many Bloody Marys during the
So let me show you.
Yes.
This jacket, your protest guy just made this jacket for myself. Can you see what that says? Whoops.
I'm not sure if I can see it. What does it say?
Buy my, B-U-I, buy my. Then on the other pocket,
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. Then
I love it.
this is the inside.
Oh, wow. That is fabulous.
You want to see my tattoos too?
Yeah, okay.
That's right, Bruce Julian himself. Bruce, from what I understand, Bruce, he tried Bloody Marys all across the country for a while before he really perfected this recipe. So
All across the world.
Yeah.
across the world, he was tasting these, and Bruce and the gang there. I can't wait to come and visit the suit store. The name of it is Bruce Julian as well.
Yeah,
Bruce Julian Clothier.
Bruce Julian Clothier. I can't wait to come join you guys and host a whiskey tasting there. And I guess that might be a nice way to lead into when we say whiskey tasting. Before we mentioned that Tom of Finland. It's so funny when I say Tom of Finland. I feel like my name's Tom Fisher and I say Tom of Fisher, but it's Tom of Finland vodka. Before we talk about that, Umberto, you have a whiskey that you're going to be, a bourbon you're going to be releasing in the fall.
Correct. Kentucky straight bourbon. It's a blend of 4, 5, 6-year-old bourbon. So it is really for the early adopters of the category, which is the majority probably of the population of drinking people. So this is, if I look back at 3 years ago, I was just trying to do one brand, and I was honored and lucky to find the right partners to start it. And 3 years into it, we were able to find, we don't have a distillery obviously producing bourbon. We were able to find a partner who owns a lot of barrels and in Kentucky, in Danville, actually, not too far from my good old friends of Turkey. And and we partner with them because they had bought bourbon. They're buying still bourbon as an investment, but they don't have a really route to market or how to make this bourbon then sell. And we were lucky enough to partner with them and having enough supply of Kentucky straight bourbon, which is the biggest challenge nowadays. And then I got going creating a brand, and this brand is really to again kind of following the Wolf spirit. Sorry. But the whole idea of giving it a shot. So its name is a Puncher's Chance, just like Buster Douglas did with Mike Tyson back in the 1990s. One shot and took him down. But here it's not about boxing, nothing to do with that. But it's a metaphor for those who hope that with one shot they can actually change the course of the event. So we are a very small player in bourbon. That category is still flying off the roof, and what we're trying to do is send a message out there also for the underdogs, and it's a great bourbon. It's a great $30 position brand. So and it's Kentucky straight bourbon. So 90 proof. We'll as soon as we are ready to release it, you'll get obviously a sample that you can taste and give it its right merits. I hope. What it deserves, and it's going to be launched in this summer. So it will take, obviously, the system. It will take a couple of months before you will see it readily available in most states. Kentucky for sure, right. And so that new news very soon. Which honestly, in this context, to be able to launch a brand, I think it's a pretty heroic venture.
Yeah, absolutely. Puncher's Chance, Kentucky straight bourbon. That'll be so exciting to try that, Umberto, and congratulations to you on that. So I feel so lucky to have your vodka, your Bloody Mary mix. I'm kind of bringing. I'm the one that gets to sip both of these all together. At some point, when you release your bourbon, we'll maybe we can all meet up in North Carolina there and do a tasting and taste your bourbon and then taste the Bloody Marys and the vodkas there at a celebration at Bruce Julian. I think that would be fun. We'll all get together. We'll have some good cocktails and some good whiskey and vodka. I would love that. But for now, I feel really lucky to try everybody's together in one glass. But so that's exciting news. And again, for everyone watching, you heard it here first. Puncher's Chant Bourbon coming soon. Until then, though, make sure you look for their vodkas. And we're going to taste the second vodka, the Tom of Finland vodka. This actually comes from Finland and has a really unique story.
Yes. So I go back again to those 3 years ago when I was trying to do something, and I wanted a vodka, and that worked out. And I wasn't planning a second vodka. I thought one was pretty much enough. But friends of mine in Finland I met back in the years worked for an advertising agency. They reached out to me and they said, we just did the 150th, I think, anniversary of Finland as a nation, and as part of the celebration, there's been a post stamp dedicated to an artist called Tom of Finland, who passed away in the 90s, and that post stamp was the most sold item in Finland ever, and it sold worldwide. So there's a lot of like vibe around Tom of Finland, the artist, and we were thinking maybe there's an opportunity to launch a brand around him in the liquor category. We know you in the US, would you be interested of taking it? And so I jumped on board, not because I wanted another vodka, but mainly because the story was, and I am about stories in the end, in brands, as you probably figured out, but the story was unique. So try to make it short and compelling. But Tom of Finland, his name wasn't Tom of Finland, contrary to Tom of Fisher, whose name is actually Tom Fisher. But Tom of Finland, his name was Tukko Laaksonen, which obviously is the Finnish name. He grew up, he was born literally 100 years ago. We're soon going to be celebrating his 100th birthday. He was born 100 years ago, and he was gay. Now, if you go back 50 years ago and more, being gay was a problem. And in Finland was a serious problem. You could have been arrested. So he lived the majority of his life undercover, and he spent many years in the army fighting the war, and so you can imagine the challenges there for him. And then he joined McCann Erickson, so one of the top advertising agencies, as a creative artist. And then undercover, he was doing all these paintings and drawings that he would send to all his contacts around the world, hidden in letters in the mail, just as love statements for his friends around the world. And because he was an artist by nature, the type of art he created was unique in its style, and was unique also in the way the images were portrayed. So he was portraying gay men as happy, joyful men living together. I think there's one or two paintings out there where men are not smiling, and mainly driven by the AIDS epidemic. So it was his kind of interpretation of that. But everything else was all about men being proud of being who they were. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to publicize this. So what he did, he left Finland. His family didn't want to have him around, basically. He left Finland. He came to LA. He found a place where he could actually express himself more freely. And he had to change his name because Tukko Laaksonen is not really friendly for an American to say. And that the name came Tom of Finland. And his paintings, and people don't know this, I mean, in general population, his paintings revolutionized pretty much some of the most iconic creative characters in the world, in history. Wow. And I'll show you the bottle, and you probably jump on one person immediately. So this is your bottle top. Here you go. You have it right.
That's cool. Very cool bottle. I love the way the image shines through, and the vodka. Yeah. There's some just great. There's almost like a hint of sort of a vanilla note. I get some nice sort of spice against the vanilla. There's a lot of complexity to this too.
So the way we went about the liquid was I wanted obviously something different from Blood, Sweat, Tears, and something representative of Finland. And as you may know, rye is a great, a big ingredient for Finnish, both in food and in drinks. Some of the very good rye vodkas are coming from Finland. And so we added a little touch of rye. So it's 95% wheat, 5% rye. And as you know, rye is very powerful, very spicy. So if you put too much rye, it may overpower the softness of wheat. So we just limited it to 5%. And that already changes the whole nature of the drink. To your point, adds spiciness to it. And it's 100% organic, because most products right now in Finland need to be organic to appeal to the population and to the wider audience. So
Right.
we have it organic. We added spice to it through rye, and we made pretty iconic bottle and homage really to the LGBTQ community, because Tom of Finland really opened the door. If we can now openly celebrate prides around the world, he was part of it. He was, and it's an honor, honestly, for us. There's a foundation in LA, the Tom of Finland Foundation, that is actively out there championing his artwork, and we are a small part of it. And I think for a small operation that didn't exist 3 years ago, just as we try to help dogs, we contribute to society in a broader way.
Well done. It's a beautiful vodka. These are both really complex vodkas. Are these? Where can people find these if they're looking at either finding them locally, or if they're going to order them online? Are there places that you would point them to?
So online, we are with Drizzly. We'll soon be with Saucy, and that covers a lot. We are in nearly 30 states, 25, 26. Unfortunately, what's happening now is slowing down our growth in terms of distribution, but we are in all the key markets. We are not yet in North Carolina, control state, as you know, so it takes a while to get there. But we are in all major states, and I have to say, for a small craft brand, we have a relatively good national footprint in terms of retailers. So some of the top retailers in the country, from Total Wine to Walmart to Publix in Florida, all the Albertsons, Bonds, and Safeways in California. We are with some of the biggest retailers who bought into the story, the liquid, and the mission of the company. We are all seasoned people who worked in the spirits industry many years, so we know our way around it, but we're still small, and we get things done. We try to roll up our sleeves and not look our titles and, oh, I shouldn't be producing T-shirts, I'm a senior guy. Well, no, you better produce it, because nobody else is going to be there doing it. So
that's incredible. Well, look for the vodkas, and you know what? Amazingly, Umberto, I made a Bloody Mary for my wife and I. Not yet, but I used the Tom of Finland in this second one I've been trying, and also makes an incredible Bloody Mary. I bet a lot of great cocktails you can do with both of these. But Paul and Bonnie, again, just all kinds of vodkas can shine through in this. And if people are looking for, and I do really, and I'll put the links up on BourbonBlog as well and our social media right after. But if people are looking for your Bloody Mary mix, what's the website? We should probably mention that right away so people can find it and order it.
BruceJulianHeritageFoods.com.
Wow.
And when we all went into stay-at-home orders, we were like everybody trying to figure out what we could do to help people.
Right.
We're a small company, but we do what we do, and so what could we do through our actions to help other people? And so what we've done is we're setting aside 10% of the revenue generated by online sales at BruceJulianHeritageFoods.com and donating that to Meals on Wheels. Because Meals on Wheels is helping elderly people, and elderly people are among the most vulnerable population right now, especially. Right. And so that's the little bit we can do. And we're serving our customers. Grocery stores, being essential businesses, are open, and so we're able to sell there as well. And eventually, our smaller specialty retail stores will be back open, and our customers will be able to return to shopping there as well.
Yeah,
and our bars and restaurants. I mean, I thought it was very ironic, Tom, that we were all together in New York at the restaurant show. It was a great show. People were aware and concerned,
yes,
but we had no forbearance at that point, how quickly this was going to shut down that industry. And, obviously we were all having these conversations in the week of first week of March, and in the second week of March, the entire industry was shut.
Right.
So for us, and we've had wonderful communication with our restaurateurs and our bars, of everyone being conscientious and patient, and they are, and with great hope and confidence that on the other side, we will all come out and be better marketers and better people and better producers.
Right. And I should also say, when we were there, we knew things it wasn't perfect everywhere, but when we did that restaurant show, we had no idea the next week what it would look like. But I am glad we all were there together, and everyone I'm talking to there is as well and healthy. Are all of your families, Umberto in Italy, are they well and healthy there in your?
I would say there's been a few dramas, but now everything is fine. Thank you.
Yeah, and I like that these kind of conversations about cocktail mixers and the vodka. I mean, I like how it's all bringing us together. It's what we're continuing to try to do on BourbonBlog Live with our quarantine drinking team series. We did have some nice comments. Someone who's a big fan of there it is. Love Bruce Julian Bloody Mary mix. It's the best, says Kathy Allison, Neighbors Cockrell. She's a big fan of what you guys do. And then Larry Margola says, great job, Umberto. If you all do have any questions, as I mentioned earlier, do ask them down below. We are live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Like this, share this, because we want everybody to know about the great products we're tasting. Now, also right behind you, I noticed, because I tried some at the restaurant show, you have a really great couch mix that goes really nicely with this. Talk about the other foods that you all do in your line.
So what we do is, again, we wanted to have the full experience of enjoying, quality products. So we started with the Bloody Mary, then we went to the seasoning to rim the glass, and then go into a gourmet food seasoning. We have a full line of pickled vegetables. We have pickled okra, pickled asparagus. And so as we carried through, we also wanted to embrace the Southern heritage foods. And so we do a full line of brunch items. But along that path, we have stone ground grits and sugar cured ham and a wonderful line of preserves. But we always knew we wanted a snack, because there's nothing more perfect and satisfying to a good cocktail than having the perfect snack.
We need that.
So, as we all do, it's like, okay, so that, and you try a billion of them. And we didn't want another pretzel, another chip, another popcorn. And my career, prior to the food business, I was in the textile industry, and over 50% of my business was in Europe, and Spain and Portugal were large markets for me. And I would travel there and, to work with my agents, and they would go to bars, and they had Kikos, these giant corn nuts. And I loved them, and I would bring them back to the studio in Manhattan. And, it was kind of when you could do that, it was like, Bonnie's going to Europe, bring back Kikos. So we knew that what we wanted was Kikos would be an ingredient in our couch mix. When we started selling the Mojo, the Southern Mojo seasoning and the rimmer, to allow people to taste it properly, we would season oyster crackers, and people could taste the seasoning and understand the complexity. And of course, everyone say, "Would you sell these? You should sell these." So it's like, Being from North Carolina, of course, North Carolina is very, is one of the largest producers of peanuts. And again, that's a very familiar snack. So then we were at the Fancy Food Show in New York, Bruce and Paul and I, and as you, not exhibiting, because usually I'm behind the booth. We're in the booth. We're not walking the show. And we're walking the show, going as fast as you can, because it's a big show. And I see these two rather portly gentlemen sitting down, which is forbidden in any booth that I've ever managed. You do not sit down.
Sit down.
Class, and they had these dispensers like you see in a breakfast room at a hotel. And at the corner of my eye, I stopped and turned on my heel and went back. And these dispensers were full of Kikos, and they were importers of these giant corn nuts. And so I went into complete, I want 75 pounds. And Bruce and Paul turned around and realized I wasn't with them and came back as I'm saying, I want to order 75 pounds right now. And they thought, she's lost her mind. And I'm like, no. We found the Kikos. So from then we knew we had the ingredients. We sourced local North Carolina peanuts. We started working with our Mojo as the seasoning. And again, tying the flavors together.
Flavors come around together.
Yeah. And then worked on the recipe and, different combinations and strength, etc. we thought perfected it. As everything happens in the kitchen, Umberto, you would love this. We'll need to get your vodka, but we're very, very good martini drinkers, and we drink vodka martinis. So we're in the kitchen drinking martinis. Paul's a Manhattan, so for Tom, Paul does the Manhattans, we do the martinis. And I'm like, we got it. And so we're like, well, what do we call it? You know, it can't be Julian snack, and it's not a trail mix, and blah, blah, blah. And Bruce very eloquently and quite his charming way turned around, and I'll clean it up a little bit. And he goes, well, shoot, honey, just call it couch mix. And we started that and thought, this is perfect. So there's couch mix. So we worked with this wonderful group in Europe, a gentleman who helped us create the bag. And there's a photograph here, and that's a photograph of Bruce's mom and dad in the 50s sitting on the couch. So we knew we had a KitchenAid, we had a great snack, and it has been phenomenal for us. People really, really enjoy it.
And Bruce on the back at this very bar.
At that bar, wow.
It's a great snack. You know, people enjoy. I think people look for some levity in their purchasing, is to say, this is fun. You know, it's kind of, you know, again, our pitch is no one really needs another trail mix. What people really want with a good cocktail is the perfect snack. And so there's the couch mix. So we launched it. We launched the product a little over 2 years ago, rebranded it into this about a year ago, and it's been incredibly successful.
It's a great mix. I remember I was so happy that you all gave me some for my journey. So from it was from my journey from New York up to Vermont. I was going to next. I had some of that. It was beautiful stuff. It's really good. When it comes to your, and I know you have a lot of great foods there. You're really speaking my language. A lot of good Southern foods, grits, some hams. Definitely check out everything they do. When it comes to your Bloody Mary mix, I know sometimes people use Bloody Mary mix in cooking. Is there anything you've seen your Bloody Mary mix made with that's really interesting that would be worth noting?
Well, we have, and we encourage all the times on our website for people to use our products in all of their cooking, because again, if you have a quality product, you know, and ours is clean labels, etc., then we encourage you to just think of them as just tools to enhance flavors. So we have developed a Bloody Mary meatball, and we actually create a kit. I don't know if you can see this, but it has our Bloody Mary, a package of pasta, the gourmet seasoning, and the recipe card, and it makes the most amazing meatballs. So you use the Mojo and the meatball mix. You use the Bloody Mary as the base for your sauce. It's great. With our, we also do an incredible Bloody Mary gazpacho. Again, because ours is all natural and it has the brightness of the orange juice and the lemon juice and the natural horseradish. It's a beautiful base for a 5-minute wonderful chilled soup gazpacho. We with our shrimp, with our grits and ham, we do shrimp and grits. So very Southern dish, but you can buy a shrimp and grits. You know, we just want to encourage people to enjoy the products and be creative with them. We made very old-fashioned Bloody Mary aspic, which is extraordinary. And you'll love this, we do a full line of preserves. And one of our preserves, I'm looking for it, is a raspberry peach champagne. And
oh my gosh.
Last year, we created an amazing julep using the raspberry and the mint julep. It was amazing.
Raspberry peach champagne preserves
in your mint julep.
Did you just kind of shake it in, or what did you do?
Well, we mold it. So with the mint,
mold
it with the mint, and then added, and it's delicious. It's delicious.
So you're looking for a way to kick up the mint juleps, which are sometimes in these glasses, but today we put the Bloody Mary in them. Definitely look at that, and so many great possibilities. And you said something that I know, being from border. I call myself, I'm half Kentucky, and I'm from the border of Indiana, Kentucky. But you said aspect. I know what an aspect is. I bet there's a lot of people that. What is the tomato aspect? Tell us about that.
The tomato aspect is a very vintage recipe.
Yes.
When gelatin was first realized, and people were canning tomatoes, and they were trying to look for other uses to prolong the use of the tomato. So they would use the gelatin, just as you would make Jell-O, but you use a tomato juice as the base. And, you can make it just simply congealed tomato. It sounds terrible, but it's absolutely delightful.
It's good. It's so good. Aspects are so nice.
Imagine making it with a Bloody Mary. So then you have all the nuances of the herbs and the spices and the horseradish. And then, we did it in the mold, and then I sear it with sour cream in the middle. And, you can just have fun with it, but it is delicious. That
is incredible. So if you find the aspect recipe, just use the Bloody Mary mix in place of the tomato juice.
Correct. And then, and again, I think so many people today too are looking for things that are simple, not complex, but you don't have to have 15 different products. You have 1 or 2 steps. And what happens when you use ingredients like this is that it enables everyone to be a gourmet cook.
Yeah,
and a really lovely, wonderful dish available to their family and friends in no time at all.
So not only is it great Bloody Mary, you can also cook with it. Lynn Miller-Watt says she's loving your Bloody Mary there. So many great fans. And similar question for you, Umberto. Is there a favorite cocktail? I mean, I know you enjoy Bloody Marys as well. Are you quite a Bloody Mary fan, Umberto?
Yeah, I like. I guess it's an Italian feature. We drink with food. So Bloody Mary is probably the closest thing to without having to cook something. Well, I would take the couch mix anytime now because couch has become our office pretty much. So
right,
I would take that.
Is there a favorite cocktail with your vodkas that you when it's on a Bloody Mary that you really enjoy?
Well, I tend to say, I mean, it's written on the bottle on the back label is best enjoyed however you like it because honestly it really varies by the moment. I mean martinis are that sophisticated moment for me, and right now it doesn't feel like I could have a martini just because of the context. The Bloody Mary is really what I would need, definitely. So there's no I don't have a favorite, and I wouldn't suggest a favorite. I'm all about enjoy it because honestly the moment does change the feel of a product. So
experimenting, right?
Well said.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. Have you ever done or seen anyone do any cooking with your Blood, Sweat, and Tears or Tom of Finland in a recipe? Has that been something that you've experimented with?
Not yet. Definitely because of the name as well and the character Blood, Sweat, Tears is a favorite for Bloody Mary. We are seeing consistently.
Excellent.
And bartenders, bless them in this moment for sure.
Yes.
Bartenders, they are they like to have fun with Blood, Sweat, Tears. So in general, if you have a drink that has 3 or 4 ingredients or more, BST as we call it internally, BST is definitely a good vodka. If you're looking for your very smooth and kind of sophisticated drink, Tom of Finland, just like his art, stands out.
Wow. In fact, we have more fans of the BST. Said Scott, simply there loves the BST vodka. Such great products. Both of these groups of folks, such great products. The Bloody Marys, the vodka. It's fun to bring. This is actually the first time I brought on this particular series, on the Quarantine Drinking Team series, 2 groups of people together, and this has really been a lot of fun to learn more about both of your all's products there in North Carolina. The Bloody Mary mix and your complete line of Bruce Julian foods. And I would recommend that you all, again, go to that website, which is brucejulianheritagefoods.com.
Correct.
And also find them on Facebook. And then the best place on social media and your website, Umberto?
bstvodka.com.
bstvodka.com. Find them on social media, like them, follow us on BourbonBlog. We're doing this every single day throughout the quarantine. We usually do it in the evening, but today I said, you know what? Let's have a good brunch cocktail and some great stuff, because this evening I may be working on some other things that I need to film. But we will be back every night this week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, with a new guest. Tomorrow night we're talking with Glenn Morangi from Scotland. Other nights this week, some other great products. So find the whole schedule there on bourbonblog.com and try these great products. I feel pretty lucky that I think my wife's going to be back soon, but I got plenty of vodka and Bloody Mary mix. I'm probably going to have a little bit more of both. Is that a good idea? What do you think?
I think it is.
Cheers to you all. And if you, Umberto,
Here's Umberto.
Paul, and Bonnie, thank you all for joining me from all over the country. And if for those of you watching, if you got here midway, go back, watch this, like this, share this. We're also going to be putting the audio of this up on our brand new podcast channel on BourbonBlog. Find it on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all those places. Listen to the podcast that we have up there. So cheers, everyone. Thank you all. And all of you stay well, safe, and thank you for making great products. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Ciao.
Bye.
Guys, thank you all.